Good evening. This is Haida Institute of Education. My name is Dwayne, and tonight we're starting a new topic. First week back, so we're starting a new topic, and it's I'll share the screen, and then you can see it and read it yourself. It's CHCMHS011. Got all sorts of noises going here. Just a sec.
Recording in progress.
So just to start off, we'll go into the acknowledgement of country. In the spirit of reconciliation, Haida Institute of Education acknowledges the community. We recognise Aboriginal and Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, live and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land, our sorrow for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respect to all First Nation people and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. So just to start, we'll do the housekeeping, just the general expectations that we all have as a class, in class when we've got people to engage with in the room. We do a cameras on college, so cameras on, please, just so that we can interact and see each other. Microphones muted. That's what we work with, so there's no interference or any feedback or any distraction in the background. Really helps. Class breaks. We do have breaks in a class setting, so after a few hours, it can be quite exhausting. So after an hour, we do a 10-minute break. So 7 o'clock, 10 minutes, 8 o'clock for 10 minutes there. And obviously, with the class engagement, we do like the engagement, but just so that it gets structured well and everybody's interacting kindly. Reaction icon underneath the screen. It's on the Zoom screen, just at the bottom of your laptop screen. With all of that, we have expectations of respectful relationships. Just be mindful and kind with your words, obviously, and respect the opinion of others. We're all learners and in this together, so just look out for each other. Remembering that we're all living life, busy day, busy week, and just have some kindness and some patience, really. Also, no smoking or vaping on camera, or alcohol, stubbies, any alcoholic drinks. It's almost like a TAFE class. It's almost like a staff meeting, so we wouldn't be doing it there. So it's the same here. We wouldn't do it in this setting neither. That's partly because of triggers. Nobody wants to go to a TAFE course and find that somebody's using something that they're trying to give up or they're having a struggle with. So looking after yourself is important, but it's important to just remember that there's other people here, so we're not going to trigger anybody else. Also, triggers. It's hard enough sometimes with the content that we cover. It can be pretty confrontational or triggering. So just remember who your support persons are, support strategies, support telephone numbers, and just be aware, ready to use them if needed, if anything does become triggering. And equally, be kind to yourself. Make time for other activities as well as studying that nourish your mind and soul so you feel refreshed and ready for class each week. So just moving on into the session, we'll have a look at what we're looking at this week. This session is session 1 of the topic. I'm not sure whether I titled the topic, and it's assess and promote social, emotional, and physical well-being. There you go. Session 1 of three. So when we're looking at this, it's a healthy module. We, as part of the alcohol and other drugs module, if we encourage you not trying to help people and support people and point people in the right direction to being healthy and have positive well-being, we need to know how to do it ourselves. So we would then be modeling it to anybody that we're working with. We have to know how to do it ourselves so that we can pass it on. And that's what we'll be looking at tonight. So primarily self-awareness, looking at trying to evaluate how aware we are of our internal characteristics, our external characteristics. We have got blind spots, but trying to get people that will help us with the blind spots is going to be important.
Recording in progress.
So just to start with going over this, looking at self-care, self-awareness. When we're looking at alcohol and drug recovery or any addiction recovery, any topic on well-being, we're looking at recovery-orientated practice, recognize people's strengths and recovery potential, even in the context of ongoing symptoms. So it's focused on recovery. Despite what might still be going on for us, despite any mental health challenges that might be still around, despite any triggers that we might still have, it's recovery-orientated, it's recovery-focused, and it's based on our strengths. So we're using our strengths to build the recovery despite any struggles that we've still got. So just to start out, just a quick question. As a breakout room, we would do like mini class groups. A self-care strategy is something that we use to look after ourselves. I would be asking, if you were in the session tonight, what strategy you'd be using for self-care during the week. Is there something that you would use quite a lot? Would that be with somebody else? Would it be on your own? Would it be outside your house? Would it be inside your house? Does it align with certain times of the day, or does it align with certain places that you feel build you up? So just general strategies for keeping yourself strong, healthy, and putting self-care into you. Just to start off, we're looking at iatrogenic effects of healthcare. Iatrogenic is, okay, so I was hoping there'd be a definition. Iatrogenic is when we are taking medication, or prescribed medication, but there is negative effect of the medication. Sometimes I guess there might be potentially worse than the diagnosis that we're taking the medication for. It's very rare because obviously our GP is going to pick the medication for that specific situation, but sometimes the effects of the medication can be quite difficult to deal with. So just to start off, after the iatrogenic effects, we're looking at physical well-being, social well-being, emotional well-being, cultural and spiritual well-being, and psychological well-being. So when we talk about well-being, a lot of us might think straight away about our physical health, just the first one. If somebody says, how have we been feeling, or how healthy are we? A lot of people would say, physical, I'm fine, I'm doing good, I'm good or I'm bad based on our physical health. But that's only one part of who we are. we are all of the others. Even though we don't realize it, even though we don't want to see it sometimes, we are all of these. And if one thing is feeling unwell, or one part of our health or well-being is not healthy, that has an impact on others. You could even say financial in here somewhere. You could put financial well-being at the bottom and say that if one area is not great, then it's going to have an effect on all of the others. So when our physical well-being is great, is top, then our emotion, it's going to affect our emotional well-being. It's going to affect our psychological well-being. It might not mean that they're perfect, but it is going to bring them more positively up. If our emotional well-being is down, our psychological well-being and our physical well-being are going to be down as well. It's the emotional well-being is going to bring the other two down. If our physical, emotional, psychological well-being aren't good, our social well-being is not going to be healthy neither. So in that way, there's a lot of knock-on effects in the different areas of well-being, the different domains. So well-being is based on obviously the different areas of our well-being, yes, but it's based on our needs. The physiological needs are the needs that Maslow was on about at the bottom tier: the shelter, clothing, food, those basic needs. And then as you move on, should be really the other way around, shouldn't it? As you move on up Maslow's triangle, you get more and more complicated needs of love, intimacy, self-fulfillment, feeling like you've been part of something big. And they are the bigger needs built on top of the basic needs. So just to start off with the first video, I'll show you what it is. First video tonight. Module 4.2, Youth Mental Health Difficulties. That's the name of the YouTube link. There's the address, website address. It's 2.5, nearly 3 minutes long, so that's not going to take a long time to watch. Talking about youth mental health. So there's been a lot of money and a lot of study put into mental health for youth. And because of that, when we engage that out into older and older and older generations through the adults and through adulthood, it's not exclusive to youth, and it does have an impact, and it does reflect on what adults do, think, and feel as well. But it's just that the study was for youth. In many ways, it's going to be exactly the same for adults. In other ways, it's not going to be the same for adults. It could be that the older somebody gets, the less the youth study works or applies. But in many ways, while that's true, in many ways, there's not a lot of difference between youth and people as they age. A lot of people don't feel any different as they age. I'm still just a young person, people would say. So that's the first one. So when we assess well-being mean that all the different zones, the domains of our health. Providing information and resources, exploring health domains, holistic well-being, and respect and parameters. So we can measure how healthy we are. There's all sorts of measurements when you think about all the different measurements that a doctor might tell us of how healthy our body is, there's so many different keys and pointers to, if you're this, then you're a healthy person. If you're this, then you're a healthy person. If your blood pressure is this, then you're a healthy person. If your BMI or your body fat percentage is this, then you're a healthy person. If you do so many minutes of exercise a day, you're a healthy person. But that works as well. There's certain parameters in all of our other zones, whether that's emotional, psychological, social. There's a measurement that we can put on it. So when we're taking in information, we have to analyze certain things. And there's the different tests that a counselor or a psychologist or a GP might do to assess all our different other zones. That means we need to explore the other health domains, the other areas of our health that make up who we are. We need to bear in mind that they're there, and we need to look into them and use them and help them grow, just like we would strengthen our own physical body. We need to strengthen our other areas of well-being as well, which builds a holistic well-being, rather than somebody that's just healthy but has a lot of issues in all of the other areas. We want to build people that are holistically well-being, holistically healthy, with respect, parameters, and boundaries built into that. So, next video, health, fitness, and well-being. This video is showing us how everything is interlinked. No matter what domain that we're thinking about most in our personality, they are all interlinked. They're all part of us. So that's 1.1.1, health, fitness, and well-being, physical benefits of physical activity. When we do physical activity, it affects all of the other domains of our life. That's 5 minutes. Still not a long video. Come on. So, activity, physical health components. The components of our physical health, obviously in the video, it was talking about the different key pointers. Obviously, our cardiovascular health is important. Mentioned that. Obviously, our brain needs to be healthy. And there's certain ways that we can make sure that not only is our body healthy, but also our emotions and our mental health are all healthy at the same time. It doesn't take different things quite often. It takes very similar things to make many things strong. So some things that can help or hinder our well-being: our environment, where we place ourselves; isolation, whether that's a good thing or not. It's good to have alone time, but it's not good to be lonely. And that's a very big difference. We can be lonely in a crowded family or a crowded room, still be lonely there. But it's most important that we know how to not be lonely, and we know how to engage with the people that we need to engage with. So migrant and refugee background can be very isolating, especially moving to another country, and finding that can, while it can be a physically safe place, it can be very isolating as well. Mental health conditions affecting the ability to exercise can be a massive problem. When physical exercise, the video said, when physical exercise is so important for our health, that's our physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health. When physical exercise actually helps us be healthy, when a mental health condition negatively affect our ability to exercise, that's a very difficult, I was going to say hurdle, but that's another exercise one. It's another roadblock to get over, I guess, another wall to break down. And disability can stop as well. So nutrition. Um, it's not a secret that our food, whatever we're eating, has an effect on our physical health. That's fairly obvious. But more and more people are realizing that the nutrition in our food, our mental health, our well-being, and our emotional health are all connected to our diet as well. If we're putting food into us that makes our body feel then that's also going to affect our emotions as well. Um, it's also going to affect our mental health as well. Our diet is not the only thing that affects our health, nor is it the only thing that affects our physical health. But our diet, our nutrition are affecting all of our zones, our domains of well-being. So diet and exercise facts. Food for social and cultural well-being, referrals and appointments, nutrition and oral health. With a focus on well-being, there's a health triangle that many people would talk about, and it's if you want a triangle to stay strong and you want a triangle to not crash or fall over, you need to have all three sides strong. And for health, for well-being, we've got one side is exercise, we've got one side is, well, not necessarily exercise, physical activity. We've got one side is physical activity, we've got one side is nutrition, not diet, because diet sounds like you're reducing food or something. And the other side is sleep. So we've got sleep, nutrition, and physical activity. Any of them pulled apart are going to mean that we're not going to be as healthy, or we're not going to be as strong, or we're not going to have as good well-being as we could. And when one of them isn't strong, it's also going to pull the other two down. So if we're not getting good sleep, we will crave sugar. If we're not getting good sleep, we will not be bothered to do any physical activity. If we're not doing a physical activity, then our body will not get as much sleep. And that's a locked in cycle, unfortunately. And it'll force us, them two things will force us desperately to eat certain things. So we have to make sure that we're trying to focus on all of them. So with self-care, we need to pass these ideas on to our clients, the people that we're working with. For self-care ideas for clients, we need to be aware of what they need, what they want, what their plan is for their self-care, what their plan is for their healthy life, really. So we need to walk with them towards that and empower them to be looking at the things that they need to look at. Executive dysfunction is the front part of our brain that is not wanting to kick in. That could be linked with ADHD. It could be linked with Parkinson's disease. It could be linked with poor sleep will stop executive function. A poor nutrition plan will mean that our brain is not firing well in the logic, the front bit. So there's so many ways that our brain might not be helping us make the right decisions. So when we look at social and emotional well-being, we're looking down two zones that are very, very linked, but we can look at them both together. The third, I think it's the third anyway. There we go. Social connections, social well-being, importance of social connections, social life, and social interactions. And that's the website there. So developing self-awareness, it's important. It's important to not just look at all of our zones of health that we have, the zones of well-being in different areas, but we need to be looking at also anything that we don't always realize that might be there, where somebody else might be telling us something important and we might not be listening. If somebody else has recognized something about us, it might be a blind spot that we have. So we might need to figure out how that might be explored ourselves. The thing I'm thinking is Harry's window, where we have a window of four panes, and there's things that other people can see on the top, and there's things that we can see on the side. And then our external one is the thing at the top left that we can see it and they can see it. And then there's things that we can see that other people can't. And then there's things that other people can see that we can't. And we've got to be aware of that. We've got to be aware that everybody has blind spots, and not everybody is not everybody is going to see the things that we can see, and we're not going to see the things that other people can see. When we're thinking about our mental health, staying strong, there's a certain key activity that will keep our mental health strong, and it's gratitude for what we do have. It sounds cliche, but it's not. If we're thankful and we have gratitude for what we do have, for the things that are in our life, the positive things that are already here, then our mental health gets more positive. And that's been quantified, studied. That's been proven for people, no matter what condition they're in. When people are really, really struggling with physical illness, when they're struggling with tragedy, when they're struggling with trauma, when gratitude is realized in somebody's life, then they can start to realize that there are positives in life that can be valued. And that's not to demean the negatives that somebody is going through, whether that's trauma, physical sickness, cancer, somebody's death. Then it's really, really important that we're not minimizing the negatives, but we are actually having gratitude for what's there.
Recording in progress.
And when we think about our self-exploration, our thinking about who we are, we do have to seriously sometimes have a self-reflection of who we are. An inventory, a personal inventory. I'm doing a personal inventory. It's a good methodology to do that sometimes, every now and again, every few months, to categorize what we have and what we've got and what our strengths are, what our focuses are, what our goals are. Doing a personal inventory like that it's important to propel us forward. Even looking at our stigma, beliefs, and discrimination, our bias, from the outside and from the inside. What are our stigmas? What are our biases? And what would we discriminate against under normal circumstances? And also on the other side, how would we feel stigmatized and discriminated against? Why do you think this is important when working with clients? Why would you say that knowing all this about ourselves and then trying to pass it on is important? I'll not say. So, reflection, a personal reflection. Go back to that. It's quite often there's been a lot of poems about the man in the mirror. When we talk about a reflection, whether it's the song, a poem about the man in the mirror, when we study ourselves and when we study who we really are or who we seem to be to ourselves and to other people, we get a lot of massive realization out of it. It's powerful. Maybe Google "Man in the Mirror" poem. It's really eye-opening. So providing the right advice and resources, that's really important. It's important that people don't get misinformation there online. It's important that people don't get misinformed. It's important that people get correctly informed about our health, our well-being, and things need to come from credible sources. We don't want our people that we're working with, we don't want them to be taken in with lies. We need to make sure that they do get the truth. So helping them access truth, helping them access positive, healthy information is going to be important. And in the middle of all of this, as we move in, like it said at the beginning, it's that our well-being is focused, it's recovery focused, it's built on strengths, it's part of the stages of change. We talk about the stages of change with recovery from AOD or addiction, but it's not just about that. It's stages of change is any change that we want to make in our life and the stages we go through to action them. That's what it was for originally. So we're looking at pre-contemplation, we're looking at contemplation. Pre-contemplation, I don't have a problem. I don't need to look at my life. I don't need to look at my well-being. I'll be fine. Then contemplation, I really do need to evaluate my life, do some self-reflection, do some work on me. And then preparation, to make plans, actual plans to do something healthy with myself. Then actions, doing things that actually build me up, as well as getting stuck doing things that don't help me. We can all get stuck at work or in family or in relationships with things that don't actually support us. So there might be toxic relationships, there might be toxic activities, toxic arguments, wherever they are, toxic discussion in family or work. So we can actively go against that and make actions towards healthy lifestyle. And then as it goes around, going into maintenance and preparation for relapse. Relapse is in a stage of change model because it's time for us to reflect and time for us to remember that we're probably only one or two steps from going back to feeling negatively in so many ways. So stages of change model, I'll give you that video as well. There we go. It's the trans-theoretical model as well. That's if it was a bunch of academics talking about this, it would be the trans-theoretical model. It's easier to call it the stages of change. And it's this video is by Dovetail Queensland. Is it Queensland? Yes, it is. So stages of change behavior: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance, and obviously relapse, which can take us back to the original problem. So two therapeutic methods or therapeutic approaches that do work. They've been proven to work. They're research-based on positive working studies. They're not contradictory, but because they both work and they work in a very different way, some people will find one works and some people will find another works, and some people will hate one and some people will hate the other. So cognitive behavior therapy focuses on the link between our brain and our body, and the way that we can change our behavior, we can change our thinking, and we can change our feelings because they're all interlinked. So it's all about change. Cognitive behavior therapy is all about change. Acceptance and commitment therapy is not about change. It's completely the opposite. It's about accepting what is there. Because some things, while we can change some things, there are definite things that we can change, and we can use CBT, it's called. We can use CBT for that. But some things we can't change. And when things are out of our control, that's when acceptance and commitment therapy come in, ACT or ACT. So depending on the circumstance, depending on the relationship, the situation, it depends on which one and there we go. This is the first one. This is CBT video. This is by Psych Hub. How does cognitive behavior therapy work? By Psych Hub. And ACT. What is ACT? LGBTIQ plus people talk about their experiences accessing healthcare. This is this should be the ACT one, I think.
Recording in progress.
Yep. Whoops, give you the videos in the wrong order. So what is acceptance commitment therapy from Psych Hub? And with both of them, whether it's done with a professional, because you can read over it and you can try and understand it yourself, but it's best if somebody's guiding you through the process. And if somebody's guiding you through the steps of how it works and how it can help people, that's the best way. So with self-care, whoa, slow down. Try and research as many self-care activities that you can. Like, just because it's not appealing to you doesn't mean other people aren't going to get something out of it. Because we're all different, so many different ways to do self-care. Some people might like to go for a run. Some people might not like running. But for some people, running is a powerful tool to help self-care and build somebody up. But then somebody else might prefer a long bubble bath. and other people hate baths. So because everybody's different, it's a good idea to know many different potential strategies. Because if you're advising somebody, don't just tell them what you like, because there's only a certain number of people that will like that. Other people will like something different. So the best way to study it is here, the learner guide. So the learner guide, it was saying, slide was telling me to look at chapter 3, no, chapter 2.3, page 21 in the learner guide. For self-care strategies. We've got 3 sessions, and the whole session will be split into 3. The whole module will be split into 3, and the whole learner guide will be split into 3. So it was saying 2.3 strategies for self-care there. There you go. You can find that and read that yourself. So because everybody is different, with even people with the same culture, the same or similar life experience, same needs, same beliefs and attitudes, might have slightly different social determinants of health, slightly different culture, slightly different life experience. So everybody in the end is going to be completely different because of one tiny thing means that people's lives could be drastically different. So with a discussion, about food, the learner guide 3.3, I've just closed it down. Discuss how to talk about nutrition, being mindful, as it can be triggering for a client who has a history of disordered eating. How do we bring up the subject of when somebody could be triggered by talking about food, because they might use food as a comfort, they might use food as an enemy, because it's never helped them in their life because of so many different things. How do we explore that with somebody? So with all of our different zones of well-being, there's our part of our physical makeup. Sex is also part of our emotional and mental health makeup, which builds into our sexual identity, our gender expression. It's all so interlinked with our physical, emotional, and mental health. The stigma of stereotyping, discrimination, and harassment, the choice, dignity of risk, and harmful behaviors could be linked with sexual trauma as well. And it's built around the community of LGBTQIA+. So video that I did mention is here. Bring that up. There it is, LGBTIQ plus people talk about their experiences accessing healthcare. For some communities, accessing healthcare is going to be really difficult. And this is one community that can struggle. A lot of communities can struggle, but different communities are going to struggle in different ways. And when we know that certain communities are struggling accessing the supports, that's where we have to step in and try and break down the barriers. So just to summarize everything, what we've talked about, what we've talked about today, we've talked about our health and well-being. It's not just about physical. When we're talking about our health, when somebody comes into our service or agency and talks about health, we're talking about every domain of our health, whether that's physical, emotional, social, mental, sexual, financial health. If we're struggling with our physical health, most often we know deep down that if we've got a physical health problem, we would go and see a professional, a GP, general practitioner. And whether we actually do it, whether we make time to do it, or whether we feel ashamed of going there, we know really that if we've got a physical health problem, we're going to go and see somebody. It's exactly the same with any of our, I'll bring them up, any of our other zones of who we are. Looking at them. Wherever they are. So if we've got a health problem in one of these areas, and we can add sexual health and we can add financial health underneath, we need to go and see somebody about it to try and get advice. And there are professionals in each area. If our emotional health is not good, we need to go and see somebody, a professional, about who would give us support and how to get it good. Even as extreme to financial. If our financial health is not good, we need to go and see somebody. It might be the bank manager. It might be a financial coach, financial counseling. So there are people that will engage in all of our areas of health and well-being to help support us and make us stronger. So that's it. I'll jump to the end of the Whoops, come on. And that's the last one. That's the last video. Come on. So next session, same module, session 2. That's correct. Okay, thank you.